Alright everybody, we're back here again for another video. Time to give some Oscar updated predictions here. It's been a little bit since we've done some full Oscar predictions. I'm going to tell you, I'm probably going to, when we get to some of the nomination predictions here, I'm going to forget what I had before and I'll just say what the 5 are or what the up to 10 are in that case. But yeah, so just to let you guys know here, since the last video I've had a few updates here with obviously a lot of new movies that have come out that I've seen. So I'm going to hold that stuff off for a separate video. This video individually is going to be about Oscar predictions only, and we'll get into my opinions and stuff on the other movies later on. That's kind of just more for your guys' thing, just so you know where I'm coming from. Because I think my personal feelings on the movies sometimes factor in a little bit as to what I'm predicting. Not always, but just somewhat. So, yeah. So in that case, we'll get started here by just going through the 5 nominees I have for each of the categories here. And we'll get into tech categories today here, too. The foreign language category, I don't have a full 5 yet, but I definitely know Parasite's on there. I know Pain and Glory's on there. I think, actually, I can just come up with 5 now, I guess. Or at least the 5 that I've been considering. Those 2 for sure. I've seen both of them. Again, I'll get into reviews later. I think I originally thought A Hidden Life was a foreign language, but no, it's in English, so that obviously doesn't qualify. We'll see about The Farewell. I think there's enough English in that it doesn't qualify, and I think it was actually not made in a foreign country there. Well, unless it was, I forget what. I'm going to look that up here right now because I forget. I don't know how A24 is playing that. I know that the Globes are playing it in foreign for film, but it's going to be in the comedy musical categories. For acting and stuff, or at least for lead actress. It's produced here in the U.S., so yeah, that's not going to qualify. That's right. So those 2. I'd say I've heard a lot about the French film Les Miserables. I think that was the one they picked. Shoot, actually I can pull up the Deadline article here now that I'm thinking about it, to see who else they picked out here. Otherwise, yeah, we can talk a little bit also about, some of the early reviews for like 1917 have started coming out. That's kind of the final piece of the puzzle there. AFI Fest is done. Some of that stuff I think we can get into another time here because I really wanted to kind of get this down to exact, like, just as basic Oscar predictions as I can here. But, let's see, language, films, it's international films now, I guess. Let's see here, what do we got? No, it's from last year. Let's see, need to spread something or other. That's not it. Self-inflicted. Oh, the head. Oh, that's right. There was something about one of the films from foreign language they disqualified or something. Yeah, Best International Feature Film is now the full name of that category, and now my mouse is not wanting to scroll down here. Let's see, yeah, those 2 for sure. I've heard, Manos I know is from Colombia. That got a little buzz here early on. So I know that one. Yeah, Les Mis is the French entry. I thought it was. I just wanted to double check that. And then I think there was one more. I've heard a lot about this movie, The Traitor. I saw a preview for it when I saw Pain and Glory as well, from Italy. So that, and Italy is usually a contender in this at the Oscars, of course. Yeah. Otherwise, you got South Korea and Spain with Parasite and Pain and Glory. Those 2, I think, are really going to be the ones that run the table there. And definitely between the 2, Parasite is going to be the one to do it. I'll just leave it at that. So, okay. So there's your foreign language predictions for now, or at least international feature film, I guess, if we want to be technical. All right, so now we got that out of the way. We'll get into stuff. This is more stuff I have concrete and stuff here, stuff in front of me I can look off of. All right. And we're going to start with the visual effects category. We'll get the visual effects shortlist here probably in the coming weeks. But for now, I have the 5 predicted as Alita Battle Angel. The reason I put that in, I haven't even seen the movie. I wasn't interested in seeing it. Is it's James Cameron's visual effects company and stuff. They usually like that, so I'm going to put it in. Avengers Endgame, I think, gets in. The Lion King gets in. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker gets in. I have the 5th one as The Irishman because of all the de-aging and stuff. Honorable mentions are Ad Astra. I think that has a shot. I like the effects in that a lot. Captain Marvel, every once in a while you get 2 Marvel films in these visual effects categories. Ford v Ferrari has some effects in it, and I think it'll be up for a few Oscars there too, so that has a shot. Gemini Man 2 has a lot of that de-aging stuff in it, and it was a more recent release. So that one might get some buzz, too. Yeah, I kind of looked through. Those were the kind of the ones I had my eye on, other than maybe Spider-Man Far From Home. That was the third kind of Marvel film there. But, yeah, I feel like, yeah, those 9 are probably about it. Yeah, we'll have to see. Okay, then move on now to the sound categories here. For sound editing, starting with that one, I have Ford v Ferrari out front. I saw the film in IMAX, by the way, and the sound is just incredible in that. So I think it's a loud movie. It's not a war movie, which 1917 is. That's why I have 1917 in second place. So I think it definitely has a shot to win there as well. Then I have Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker in there, Avengers: Endgame, and I have Ad Astra in fifth place there. As far as some other contenders there, I think we might be sleeping on, because we've seen like Roma and Birdman and a few other of those higher Best Picture contenders sometimes get into these sound categories. So I think The Irishman is one we might be overlooking here for sound editing. We did see a kind of musical film sort of last year win with Bohemian Rhapsody, so Rocket Man, if it really picks up, could get in. Joker could maybe get in. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably about it from what I'm thinking right now. Yeah, so that's it for that one. For sound mixing, I'm thinking, again, Ford v Ferrari, I think will win both of these. Rise of Skywalker in second place, Avengers Endgame in third. I have 1917 cleared out in fourth, and then Ad Astra in fifth. Now, again, maybe 1917. Yeah, maybe I should bump that one up a little bit, but I think it gets in for sure. Rocket Man's a musical. The musicals tended historically to do better in the sound mixing category. The exception, of course, was last year with Bohemian Rhapsody, and with La La Land a few years ago getting in for sound editing too. Again, The Irishman, I think, is going to be on there. Cats is another musical, so maybe. If Once Upon a Time in Hollywood kind of starts breaking out big, then that could also get into a sound category here. Again, probably mixing would be the one I would guess first, so yeah. All right, so that's sound categories there. Getting into the makeup and hairstyling categories, we do have the Guild already released that for whatever reason, and Bombshell did well. Us did okay. Rocket Man did pretty good. Dolomite did good. Yeah, so the 5 I have here are Bombshell. Captain Marvel, I think, does get in for the the scroll effects. Joker, I think, will get in. Rocket Man is my 4th one, and then The Irishman I have getting that 5th slot. Some honorable mentions there. I have 3 picked out, and that's Us, because it did okay at the Guild there. Jojo Rabbit has some obvious makeup in a couple of scenes. I won't give too much else away if you haven't seen it yet. And then Dolomite is My Name does have, I think, some makeup with some of the characters there. So, yeah, so that's what I'm thinking on that category there. All right, move on now. Let's see, where do we want to go next? Yeah, we'll get into the design categories here. For starting with costume design, I think Little Women I have out front because it's a period piece, 1800s. Traditionally those tend to do very well here. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in second place, Downton Abbey in third place, Rocket Man I have getting in there, and I have Dolomite is My Name getting in there. And the last 2 I think have more what I call splashy, or what you could call splashy and more in-your-face costumes. They're more fun costumes than, say, The Irishman, which is Sandy Powell, longtime collaborator with Scorsese, and if Sandy Powell doesn't win the Oscar, usually Colleen Atwood does. I don't know if Colleen is on any of these films or not. I haven't looked that up, but I know Sandy Powell's doing The Irishman there. I would say Jojo Rabbit is also one to look out for in this category. The costumes, again, are very much in your face with a couple characters in those films there. Cats could sneak in there. Harriet's another period piece that could sneak in there. Aladdin has some fun costumes to it as well. So, yeah, there's a few possibilities there. But I think, yeah, The Irishman, again, I'm debating on putting that one in over either Dolomite or Rocket Man. I don't know. I think Downton Abbey feels pretty safe because it made money, was critically well received. I don't know. It feels like that one will get a few hits here and there on the Oscar season here. I think BAFTA could get it in for a couple nominations, maybe for Best British Film. I'm sure it qualifies for that. Maggie Smith might be nominated over there for Supporting Actress, however getting in at SAG. So I think Downton Abbey will stick around a little bit here, and I think enough to get maybe an Oscar nom for at least its costumes. If not, maybe it gets a couple other things like Maggie Smith in there if they really love her. And The Irishman, another thing I was thinking with that too is It reminds me a lot of The Revenant getting in for costumes a few years ago. It's like, I had it on my up to like 7 or 8 possible, exceptions there, but I seriously didn't think The Revenant was going to get in that year for costumes. So, and it did. So it's like, if the Academy really loves it across the board, then, look out for something like that to happen. Okay, production design, I have actually Once Upon a Time in Hollywood out front for that one. Then I have The Irishman in second place, Little Women in third, 1917 in fourth, and Jojo Rabbit in fifth. I think, those war movies they tend to like a lot in production design too. So I think, 1917 will get in for that. A few other ones to look out for. Again, I would say Cats is probably a big one. It looks like a big, grandiose kind of sets there and stuff. So I would look out for that one for sure. Ad Astra, I do like the production design in that, especially a lot of the interior work. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Passengers, which got into this category a few years ago. Some people have Parasite getting in here, and I love Parasite. I'll get into the review later. But I don't look at it as like a design film. I don't look at it as really qualifying in a lot of these tech categories. The only one I would say is probably film editing and cinematography would be the two. I would probably say those are the two automatic ones that I would go to in that case, but no. And then actually, one maybe that might sneak up on us again in this category if they really love the movie is Ford v Ferrari. With a lot of the design work with like the garages and especially toward the beginning. There's a lot of design work in the Ford factory that the film opens in too. And then obviously all the stuff at the end with Le Mans and all that stuff at the race and all that stuff. There's actually a lot more design work than kind of you originally think of. So maybe that one sneaks up on us later on. Let's see here. Then we'll get into... I don't have a lot of stuff yet about the song category, but obviously Frozen 2 is going to be up there. The movie Breakthrough, which came out in April, has a song by Diane Warren. They love to nominate her, so she probably gets in for that. I'll just kind of wait until we hear more stuff and we get kind of the short list and stuff off that. I think they do a short list for that, don't they? Or no, they release like who sends what to the Academy. So I think that when we get that, we'll have a better idea, I think. For original score, I think 1917 gets in for Thomas Newman. I actually think he's going to win this time. He's been nominated 14 times, 13 for score, once for original song for WALL-E, so watch out. Oh, that's another thing, too. Toy Story 4, I think, gets in for song, too. All the Toy Story films have been nominated for song, and Randy Newman has 1 or 2 songs in this newest one, so I think that gets in, too. But speaking of Thomas Newman, so 14 nominations total. I think, speaking ahead to cinematography, I think 1917 is way ahead to win that one, too. So I think it'd be kind of nice. They were both nominated in 94 for Shawshank Redemption for their first nominations. But the original the 1994 version of Little Women, Thomas Newman was also nominated for that score the same year. So it's like, which one technically did he get nominated for first? Technically, it's Little Women because it's alphabetically higher, but beggars choosers on that one. So I'm kind of more liking it to Shawshank being his first nomination. So I think it'd be cool to see him 25 years later win on the same night. Working not with the same director, but at least working together on the same film. I think that'd be... If they can spin that narrative, I think that would help. I think the Oscar voters get a little sentimental with stuff like that. So I think that one's going to be ahead in the score category. Jojo Rabbit, I think, gets in. The score by Michael Giacchino is nice. They like him, but they like him when it's Pixar. Like, Up gets nominated, but he's missed out since. Like, he missed out for Inside Out. He missed out for a couple other ones recently. He might miss out, but Jojo feels like it'll be popular enough with the Academy. I think the music category will go for it this time. Joker, I feel like that one's definitely getting in. Marriage Story I have getting in. That's Randy Newman. But again, if the song category likes him better for his work on Toy Story 4, which I'm not sure why they would, because, none of them really popped the way they did in the last few. I think Marriage Story gets in for that, again, based off popularity of the film. And then Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, because it's John Williams, and he's been nominated literally almost every time for a Star Wars film, and especially of late. So, so I think he gets in for that, too. Some honorable mentions. I have actually A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I haven't seen this one yet, but I know the score is from the director's brother, Mariel Heller's brother. So, again, if that story kind of gets spread around a little bit, they might nominate that. Just for my personal taste, I love that score. One of the best scores of the year. Actually, one I can add on there, too, is the music in Ad Astra was pretty good, too. And then Little Women is one. I feel like it's at that number 6 slot. It's just shy. And it's Alexander Desplat, who almost always gets nominated when he's got a score out that people like. So I can definitely see him getting nominated again this year for that. So, yeah. So that's the category there. For film editing, we'll skip to that one next. I have Ford v. Ferrari again out front for this one. Fast cars, zoom and stuff. I think The Irishman I have in second. There's a lot of jumping around in the movie for sure. I did see The Irishman. I've seen it. I actually just saw it yesterday in theater. So obviously it's not on Netflix yet. But again, I'll get to it in the review. But it was, come on, it's De Niro, it's Pacino, it's Pesci, directed by Scorsese. It's never going to happen again. You got to see it in the theater. So, so I saw that one. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think, easily gets in there, too. It'd actually be the first nomination for Fred Raskin, I think is his name, the guy who took over for Sally Menken, the usual editor for Tarantino. Jojo Rabbit, I actually have in fourth place. I think that one gets in, and Marriage Story in fifth. So I'm leaving out 1917. And I don't know why it's so high up on a couple of people's odds right now. And I think, number one, look at Birdman, look at Roma. Both of them, were more the one-shot style or long takes in the case of Roma. Missed out on the editing nomination. So, I think they like most editing traditionally over, what is technically the most, best edited film. Because in that case, you could argue Birdman, you could argue Roma, if they make it look so good. Or, like Gravity a few years ago, and that actually won. And I argued it probably shouldn't have been nominated in the first place. Anyways, who else? Yeah, we mentioned Parasite in this category. I personally would dig to see that nominated. Joker maybe has a shot here. Again, it depends overall on how it does with the overall Academy. Bombshell, I think, maybe has a shot here. I don't know what else here. I don't know. It feels like that's kind of about it for that one there. Yeah. Let's see, what haven't we gotten to yet? Yeah, cinematography, we'll get to that one next year. 1917, like I said, I think I have it clear out front. Then The Irishman, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Lighthouse, I do have getting in there. It's black and white. They like those black and white films. Got a couple of them nominated last year. And another one they like is kind of that, if not foreign language film, at least a foreign flair. So I think A Hidden Life gets in for that, for Terrence Malick. So that does leave Joker off the list. Again, that's one, I do like the cinematography in Joker, and I think I read something like it won a cinematography award earlier this week or something, but it was weird. It's like everybody wants to talk about this movie just for the headlines, just for the clicks and stuff, because they know it's such a popular movie. But it's like, they'll talk about this movie getting nominated for like the Makeup Guild, and it'll be on like a lot of the major trades and stuff, and it's like, what? When do you care about this? Oh, only when Joker's nominated? Okay, real nice, dickheads. It's like, if you want to talk about it all the time. Don't just savor it up for the more popular films that get in. I get a little irritated with that. See, Ad Astra I would like to see nominated. It's great cinematography. Parasite, very well shot. Ford v. Ferrari, very well shot. Jojo Rabbit, I wouldn't mind seeing nominated. Some good work there, cinematography-wise. Little Women could be one that sneaks in there. I don't feel that way. Marriage Story, I think, misses out here. I don't feel that's a big cinematography achievement. So, yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of my feelings on that there. Okay, then we'll get to, we talked about foreign there, or international film. Again, I'll have to just, slap myself on the wrist every time I get that wrong now. Okay, for animated feature, I have Toy Story 4 out front, especially now with Frozen 2. The reviews were good, not great. The box office reception obviously is going to be off the charts. I think it was 130 million and counting and stuff. So, it's going to make money and stuff. I think How to Train Your Dragon, Hidden World gets in there for sure. Missing Link I have in there. It's Laika. They've been nominated dozens of times. If not a dozen times, but maybe I'm exaggerating there, but it's been a lot of times, so they almost always get in. And then they usually do go with one from Japan, and Weathering with You is one. Somebody brought that up in the comments section here a few videos ago, and I think it'll be one to stick around. They like that. So Abominable is a more recent one that's out that people have liked, so I think that's also a possibility. I've heard a little bit, too, about Klaus and I Lost My Body, a couple more not big studio release animated features that could get some attention. So yeah, I would say look out for those two as well to kind of sneak in there and get some attention, possibly. Okay, now updating here for the screenplay categories. Starting with adapted, I don't think I have too many changes here from last time. I have Irishman still out front, Jojo Rabbit. I have in a close second. I think the script for JoJo can win here. Obviously, the script for The Irishman, it's from Steve Zalian. He's already got an Oscar. And if Taika is not going to win for Best Picture, he's not going to win for Director, they could give him a prize for screenplay. We've seen that happen before, of course. Little Women, I think, gets into Greta Gerwig. They like her. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, I think, gets in here, even though, man, that movie has really, I think, slipped in the past few weeks here. Even though it's very highly critically rated, even though I think it's going to make some money, man, I feel like so many people are just kind of passing on that movie. I have it, missing out actually in a few other categories here. So I think screenplay gets in though. It looks like, I mean, not to say like it's a terrible films or anything, but it just looks like a weaker field this year. The Two Popes I have getting in there in my 5th place slot. It is Anthony McCartan, the bane of my existence. I don't like his writing sometimes, but it feels like that's one that'll get in there. A lot of people like that script and stuff. Joker, again, I'm not in love with that script until like the 3rd act, and parts of the 3rd act I like that script, but it's very, if you've seen any other kind of comic book origin story, the script is nothing way out there, way too fresh, so yeah. Just Mercy might be one that pops up again. I had that in previously. Toy Story 4, sometimes they do go with the Pixar movies in the screenplay category, so that's one that might get in. And then one that premiered at AFI Fest is Richard Jewell, and that one I think really took off for Paul Walter Hauser. Now, he's not in my 5 yet for Best Actor, but I think he definitely rose up into that definitely 10 to 5 range. He's definitely in there, or 10 to 6, I guess technically would be it, because I don't have him in. So that one, if they do want to go for it for Best Picture too, then I think screenplay could go along for the ride there, because it feels to me like, going back that one quick second, it feels like Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood could fall out, Two Popes could fall out. Those other 3, I don't see a scenario where Little Women, Jojo, and The Irishman, any of them miss. I don't think so. So there is kind of at least one open slot there. So if they want to go with something a little bit more like, or even Hustlers too. I think I like that script. So Hustlers is maybe one to look out for, or Richard Jewell or something like that. So there's a little wiggle room in that category. But the more competitive category this year is definitely original screenplay. And I think Marriage Story I still have out front here to win. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood I've bumped up to 2nd place. Bombshell in 3rd. I've put Parasite in for original screenplay. It feels like that's going to happen. And in 5th place I have The Farewell. I have not quite seen The Farewell yet. We've got the Thanksgiving holiday coming up next week, so I'm sure I'll carve out some time to see that. You get the joke. All right, moving on. What else can get in here? A lot of stuff. I've seen Knives Out. I saw it at an early screening yesterday, actually. And I got a cool poster to go with it, which was nice. And I like that movie a lot. So that one, I don't know. It's like, does it feel like an Oscar movie? No. But is it fun enough to where it can get a spot in a screenplay category? Yeah. Yeah, I think it could definitely land it. Booksmart, I would still like to see that happen. I do like that script a bit. Ford v. Ferrari could get in. Dolomite Is My Name has a couple of recognizable screenwriters. What's-her-names? They do everything. They did like the OJ series and wrote Ed Wood and stuff. Their names are not coming to my head. But they wrote this, and they're always great. The Report, maybe. I don't know. Pain and Glory, I think, is one. It's one I think some people have in. I don't quite have it in. I don't think the script was that strong, but it's definitely one to look out for. Waves is one maybe that we could be looking at in this category too that could sneak up on us. So, yep. All right, now let's get into the acting categories here. For supporting actress, I have said sayonara to Jennifer Hudson. I'll tell you what, Universal, I think, especially now we're hearing early stuff about 1917 and how it could be the best war film maybe since Saving Private Ryan, according to a couple of people that saw it today. I think all their attention, all their focus is going to go on 1917. If they want to split some of it at the Globes and say put some attention to Cats in the musical comedy categories, absolutely, I think that can happen. But I think for the acting categories and some of those higher categories for Cats, I think nope, I feel like it's done. So, with that, my 5 are Laura Dern in first for Marriage Story. Feels like that's something that's going to happen. Annette Bening, I think, will get nominated for The Report, even if the movie doesn't turn out to do so hot. Shao Shuzhen is still in for The Farewell for me. Jennifer Lopez is still in for Hustlers. And I put in Margot Robbie from Bombshell. That's the important thing to denote there. Again, a lot of the early screenings for that, a lot of the buzz was on Charlize Theron and on Margot Robbie. So I think, those two get in. We should look out, though. Florence Pugh, again, I think is coming on strong for Little Women. I like Scarlett Johansson a lot in Jojo Rabbit, too. But, again, I think, a lot of that focus is going to be on Best Actress for Marriage Story, which I have not seen yet. I'm still waiting on that one. Otherwise, I would look out for who else in this category. Yeah, we mentioned Maggie Smith, maybe. Davine Joy Randolph in Dolomite Is My Name is, oh man, I like her in that movie a lot, so I wouldn't mind. Honestly, right now, from what I've seen, I wouldn't mind seeing her nominated. She is just such a fun character in that movie. And also at the end, a very, heartfelt character. Almost surprisingly so, because she is so, I mean, not X-rated, but definitely, very open, or I don't know how I want to phrase it, but very, not afraid to speak her mind in the beginning of the film, and it's like by the end she's just this very thankful character and stuff. If you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to give too much else away, but it's like, oh, that's really a nice performance, a sweet character too. So I think that one, if Dolomite really does take off and get a few more nominations this season, she might sneak in. You never know. Let's see here. Going to supporting actor. This is the most open race, I think, of the four. It just feels like there's 100 scenarios that can happen here. Now, since last time, I've gone all over the place with this category, and I still don't know where I'm going to land on all this stuff. Okay, so first off, I should say who's out front now. Jamie Foxx, again, Just Mercy, Warner Brothers, again, just with AFI Fest recently, with Richard Jewell doing very well there. I feel like, again, they're going to divert a lot of their attention to that. Is that? Yeah, I think that's their big one this year. I think is going to be Richard Jewell. Unless there's one that I'm totally missing out on that I totally forgot about. But, yeah. So with that, I think, yeah, and plus Just Mercy, I think it did really well at TIFF. People liked it, but nobody's really talking about it since. And, yeah, it's kind of the case with that. So I've dropped Jamie Foxx out of there. In first place, I didn't have him in before. I have him in now. Al Pacino for The Irishman. I'll tell you what, after seeing the film, immediately my first reaction afterwards when I thought about Oscar potential, I was like, Pacino can win for this. He can. He can absolutely win for this role. It's very Pacino-esque, but remember, he won for Scent of a Woman, which was not really more or less one of his more famous roles. You could argue that. It's not Dog Day Afternoon. It's not Serpico. It's not The Godfather, Michael Corleone roles. And I think a lot of people would like to have seen him win for at least one of those back in the past. Definitely Godfather 2. I mean, good lord. I mean, what was his name again? The Harry and Tonto, whatever. Art Carney. Well, I guess if people had a sweet spot for him, then I've never even seen the movie either, so I can't crap on it too hard. Anyways, but still, I mean, it feels like we should give Pacino an Oscar for like one of those type of roles, and it's like this might be the last time to do it with The Irishman. Plus, it's going to be a popular film, so yeah, I have him out front for this. I have Tom Hanks in second place for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, mainly because he hasn't. This will be his first nomination acting-wise in almost 20 years. If he gets it, I think he will. Feels pretty safe. And so there might be some over sentiment with that, like, we haven't nominated him in a while, so let's give him his third one for this. It's like, that might happen, but I don't know. And it also depends overall, too, on how well Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood goes. Like, if it doesn't get a Best Picture nomination, not that that's crucial, we saw that last year Regina King won, not easily, but won her category without a Best Picture nominee. And then, no, I was going to say the same for Supporting Actor, but no, that was Green Book, never mind. But with Tom Hanks, so yeah, it definitely feels like... yeah, if that gets in for picture, that helps his case, too. The Wife, that's what I was thinking of last year. Yeah, The Wife. But anyways, in third place, I have Alan Alda for Marriage Story. The reasons for this is two. Number one, Alan Alda, I mean, I saw a recent interview with him, and, I mean, again, talk about last chances. This could be, I mean, I don't want to say, like, he's going to pass tomorrow, or anything, but, like, just look, I mean... Come on. I mean, he's only been nominated once for The Aviator, which was, I mean, not a throwaway part, but it was definitely, not like a great Alan Alda part. I mean, he was good in it, but, yeah, I haven't seen it in a while either, so I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it again and kind of refresh myself on that. But this, I mean, and it, from what I've heard, it's a smaller part. He's not in it very long. But also, too, another thing, the acting branch lately, when they have the opportunity to do it, with the four, a movie gets a nomination in each of the acting categories, they'll do it. They did that with Silver Linings Playbook. They did that with American Hustle. This kind of feels close to that for me, where it's like, it's such, so the sentimental type with that, and with the fact that they do like to do that when they get the chance to. And it's like there's not really another film this year that really has that. So I feel like they might do that in that case. Fourth place, I do have Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Again, I'm not 100% locked down on him getting nominated this year. I feel like, seriously, in this category, it feels like Tom Hanks and Al Pacino now feel like the two safe bets, and everything else could slip away. Like, I can see Brad Pitt getting, left off the track there. I can see Alan Alda getting left off. My fifth place, by the way, I'll tell you, is Willem Dafoe for The Lighthouse. I can see him missing out, too. I think Willem Dafoe will get in because I think he gets in and he does really well at the Critics' Prizes. Unfortunately, my choices were see Pain and Glory and Parasite or see The Lighthouse. So it was like, I picked the other two. So I didn't see The Lighthouse. I'll have to catch up with that one sooner rather than later. But from what I'm hearing and stuff, feels like a critics best supporting actor movie. Like if you get what I mean, like the individual critics prizes, what I call the regional awards, which is like New York Film Critics Circle, L.A. Film Critic Awards, National Society of whatever, whatever that one is. Film critics, yeah, that's what I said, right? Okay, whatever. Yeah, this feels like one of those roles, one of those actors. He swept this almost entirely 2 years ago with the Florida Project, so I can see him doing it again with The Lighthouse. I don't think Brad Pitt's in that range for that movie. They usually, again, kind of go for these smaller movies. Al Pacino, that's a bigger movie too, so I don't know. As far as who else can get nominated here, again, going through the laundry list, Jamie Foxx, I think, is still a chance here. Joe Pesci, having seen The Irishman, I'll get into it in the review for why I think he's less of a chance here now than, say, Al Pacino. It has to do with the fact that this is a much more subdued Joe Pesci performance. I'll just leave it at that. Anthony Hopkins, The Two Popes, has a shot. Sterling K. Brown in Waves has a shot. You know who I would like to see nominated here, having seen the film too, is Song Kang-ho, and he's the dad off of Parasite. If you've seen the movie, you know why he should be nominated, or why he should be in discussion at least. Because, yeah, he's the standout in that cast. I know originally I said months ago that Taika Waititi, if he was going to get nominated for like director or actor, I think he's definitely safe for getting screenplay nomination. I think he's a producer on JoJo too. I'm going to look that up just to make sure I'm not wrong here. Joe Rabbit. Yes, he's a producer on it, so he'll get nominated as a producer on it. It'll get in for picture. So those two are nominated now, guaranteed. I think between that, if he wants to do the 3 nominations in the same year for the same project, it's either director or it's acting. And I originally said he had a stronger chance in acting than he does in director. I've kind of flipped on that now, having seen the film too. It feels more like his chances are weaker as a supporting actor than as a director. We'll get into director here in a bit. John Lithgow's still in Bombshell. I have an idea he might get nominated. The thing is, man, that movie really, or the trailer and stuff, really do not make him look likable in that. And it's like, when they want to nominate villains in the movie, you have to really they don't usually nominate the totally despicable villains. Like they didn't nominate like Michael Shannon in Shape of Water and stuff like that. So, yeah. Now I did see early on there was some talk about Tracy Letts for Ford v Ferrari. He gets definitely a great speech in the beginning of the film, and after that he's got a couple nice moments. But I don't think that's going to be much of a threat in that category. Timothée Chalamet, again, we kind of talk about him every now and again. Yeah, he has some chances there for Little Women. I did like Wesley Snipes, some people are talking about for Dolomite. He's good, but I don't think he's good enough to get in over a lot of these people. And then Shia LaBeouf and Honey Boy, too, and Noah Jupe also for Honey Boy, both got nominated at Indie Spirits for supporting actor. Honey Boy did very well at Indie Spirits, so maybe that one. It's Amazon has that one out. That might be their big push movie this year. Turns out, not The Report, not Aeronauts, not I think there's one more, but I'm forgetting about it. Seberg, yeah, Seberg is not going anywhere, I don't think. So yeah, maybe Honey Boy's their big player this year. Okay, moving on to Best Actress now. Yeah, it's still Renee Zellweger in this category, I feel. Saoirse Ronan I still have in second place for Little Women. Still Charlize Theron in third for Bombshell. Scarlett Johansson in fourth for Marriage Story. And I still have Cynthia Erivo in there for Harriet, but I have her missing like almost everywhere else in favor of either Awkwafina or somebody else. Again, once I see the film, I think that's when I'll put Awkwafina in. I feel like I need to see that performance, not because like I don't trust the critics, all of whom say that she does a good job in the movie and stuff, but I don't know. I just feel like because I haven't loved her in anything I've seen her in yet, so I feel like I need to see it before I kind of get on the bandwagon there. Then you got Alfre Woodard in Clemency. We're still talking about a little bit. Lupita Nyong'o in Us. I feel like she can get in actually for Critics' Choice. I remember I picked her on Gold Derby to get one of the 6 nominations. I'm like, nobody else will pick this, and then like everybody else picked it. So I'm like, shit, I don't get the bragging rights for that one. And then Queen and Slim has premiered, and I think almost everybody loved it who has seen it. So, but unfortunately, a lot of people are just talking about the overall movie and the screenplay more than anything else. So I think Jodie Turner-Smith, I think. Feels like more of a long shot, but if she gets into the Globes or something like that, if she gets something big, kind of head-turning nomination like that, then I think that train can take off there. Still got the same 5 for Best Actor: Joaquin Phoenix for Joker out front, Adam Driver, Marriage Story, Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Antonio Banderas, Pain and Glory, and Robert De Niro, The Irishman. And De Niro, I think, unfortunately for him, I could see him miss, actually. Because I think definitely The Irishman is not going to play to every last person in the Academy, but for those who it really doesn't play for, unfortunately, De Niro's best stuff is in the third act. So if they don't watch it or they don't get to the end, they shut it off halfway through and they don't finish it, they're not going to get to De Niro's best stuff. So I can maybe see him missing here, even though it is one of, definitely by the end there you get, this is one of his best performances in a while. So if he gets knocked out, then I think the first choice is Eddie Murphy for Dolomite. Then Jonathan Pryce still has some chance here for the Two Popes. I guess, I don't know if that's official yet, if they're going with him lead and with Anthony Hopkins supporting. I'm kind of looking through the list here, yeah. Actually, yeah, Gold Derby, I'm just kind of looking off there. They've taken him off for Best Actor. They had him in there still for a while, but they took him off. So I don't know if that's official yet, but I would still... From what I'm hearing, yeah, everybody else has Jonathan Pryce for lead, Anthony Hopkins supporting, so I might have missed that too. Taron Egerton for Rocketman still has a shot. I do like Christian Bale a lot in Ford v Ferrari. He's very good in it. Adam Sandler still is a shot there. We talked about Paul Walter Hauser for Richard Jewell. We did talk a little bit about Michael B. Jordan and Just Mercy. So, yeah, it feels like, this one, it's these 5, and then the rest are a little ways down. I don't feel like there's, other than Eddie Murphy, I don't feel like there's anybody that can immediately come up and grab one of those spots. Murphy being the exception there. And I did finish Dolomite, and I liked the movie a lot. I laughed a lot. And there's one part, I can't repeat it because it involves the N-word, but there's a part where they're shooting the movie and Dolomite is selling, like, drive. I mean, I seriously was cracking up laughing at that because it was so great. I mean, that was probably the biggest laugh I had in the movie, but the rest of it, I mean, definitely there was some stuff early on with the stand-up material that I laughed at very hard too, but overall, that movie I did enjoy a lot, so that one I would say is probably a 9 out of 10. Again, there's a couple slower spots here and there, and it does get like a little repetitive here and there, but the ending was also again very sweet and a very nice nod to to Rudy Ray Moore and to the kind of being more personable and not being the big celebrity kind of thing. I like that a lot. Anyways, so I won't include that with my review section since I did it here. But going on now, just got director and picture left. For director, I still have Martin Scorsese out front for The Irishman. I feel like again this could be one he gets his second Oscar for. Because it is a gangster film. It is, again, just a historic lineup. So, yeah, I could see it happening. Noah Baumbach, I have in second place for Marriage Story, even though him getting snubbed by the Indie Spirits Award for director, that kind of felt like, ooh, if they can't nominate him there, then, does that hurt his chances in Best Director? Sort of, but again, we'll see. Like, if he misses for, like, the Globes or he misses for DGA or something like that, then I know we're in trouble. But for now, I think he gets in. I do have now not Pedro Almodovar, but Bong Joon-ho in for Parasite. That feels like a guarantee right now because that is a fucking masterpiece. I'll just say it. It's a masterpiece. Taika Waititi in for Jojo Rabbit. I do have him in, but he's kind of my long shot right now. And then Sam Mendes, I did originally put in 5th place here, actually just a few days ago for 1917. Now, with so many positive reviews so far, early screenings of the movie, that feels like that's going to bump up now. So he might actually be maybe like a 3rd or a 4th place now instead of 5th. But so I think Taika gets in. I think the Academy is going to go for that movie. I just feel it when I saw it. I just like it related to me so well. And again, as I say, sometimes my tastes line up not 100%, like 90% with the Academy's taste sometimes. Obviously, with like Phantom Thread, no, but or Lion, no, I didn't like that movie at all. But except for the performances were great. But not to retread on that stuff. I just felt like Taika, especially at the beginning, there was so many close shots in the beginning, or quick cuts in the beginning. I'm like, there's film editing, and then with just the overall feel and the way the movie goes from romantic to kind of deeply sad to joyful to humorous to very serious. It's like it's all over the place, but it somehow works. So if that's not a directorial achievement, I don't know what is. So I think he gets in for that. As far as who else can get in, I did bump Greta out for Sam Mendes. Again, and I don't want to speak too early and get crucified by anybody, but it's like, it just feels, just from the trailers and stuff, and obviously a lot of people that have seen it have really liked it, and they say it's a fresh take on the tale, and it does look like it definitely has moments of energy in it, but I think if people just see the poster or just watch the trailers, they might get the feeling of this is a safe adaptation. And safe generally does not lead to a director nomination. Lady Bird felt more like a risk. That felt like more like an out there indie film. So I think that's what helped her get nominated that year too, on top of the big push to get a woman director nominated again. Which, if we get that again, this year, then I think that'll help Greta, and I think she can still get in. But I'm just saying right now, that's kind of where I'm feeling like Parasite feels like the cool movie. So I think that gets in for director. Martin Scorsese is going to get in. Feels like to me Noah Baumbach is a guarantee here. Sam Mendes that's a director's movie with a one-shot style and stuff. So that almost feels like a guarantee to get in. So, I don't know. Actually, maybe Noah I'm less of a guarantee on now. So, yeah, it feels more... Okay, let me re-amend that. Martin is guaranteed. Bong Joon-ho is guaranteed. Sam Mendes is guaranteed. So it's like that leaves 2 slots. And it's like, do they want to go... Because remember, this is the director's branch here. These are the guys that put 2 black and white foreign language films in last year for director. We have to remember that. So Pedro Almodovar, I think, still has a shot for director. Quentin Tarantino, of course, he's going to be in the discussion. Marielle Heller, again, another female director. Lulu Wang, another female director that might get a shot here. But also, another one, talking about, again, the director's branch being the director's branch, Terrence Malick for Hidden Life. I feel like that has really come on strong here in the last bit. And it also helped that it got an Indie Spirit nomination for Best Film. Didn't get in for cinematography, which was weird. Didn't get in for director, which I felt like that was definitely something they could do. James Mangold is still one for Ford v Ferrari that might get in. Jay Roach, I talked about that one a few videos ago. Especially if he gets Globes and he gets DGA, that feels like that's going to be set. He's going to get in for director. But again, that's a little ways off. It's a little early to say that. So yeah, this director category again might be one that's a little hard to whittle down. So yeah. All right. Now my 10 picks for Best Picture now. Obviously, if you can tell, the report is no longer up there. That has completely died. No more buzz in that film. So that's gone. Marriage Story I have out front. And the reason why it feels like, Noah Baumbach is one of those directors who's not quite gotten there with the Oscars lately. And it feels like when there is a director like that, like Del Toro a few years ago. There's another one I just thought of and now I missed it. Crap. Okay, I'll think about it later. The other Iñárritu for Birdman, especially. It feels like, it's like one of those directors who's been around a while. We know he or she is good director. They're a good filmmaker, whoever they are, male or female, doesn't matter. Let's go all in this year. And it feels like Marriage Story kind of feels sort of like that, just from what I've seen in the trailers and stuff. And it's a smaller indie film. Those, again, have tended to do a little more, generally better in the last few years and stuff. The Irishman I do have in second place, Jojo Rabbit in third, Parasite in fourth. Again, Parasite is that cool film. I don't know if it can go all the way for Best Picture, but it's definitely going to be nominated. Little Women I have in there in fifth. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood still down in sixth. Again, I'm still a little wary of how good this film's chances are to be like a guaranteed Best Picture nominee. I'm still not riding high on the film. I'm going to see it again. It'll be out on Blu-ray and disc here very soon, so I'm looking forward to seeing it again because I might like it a lot more the second time around. That is not uncommon for me for Tarantino films. Bombshell I have in seventh place, Ford v Ferrari in eighth, The Farewell in ninth, and then I do have 1917 in 10th place. So now, of course, as I've mentioned before, mathematically it's almost impossible to get 10 nominees. I mean, it would literally have to be like very, very, very split when it comes to the voting and stuff. So if one of these 10 is going to miss, oh boy, I guess actually now that we've I have to update these a little bit since we've seen 1917 get a few screenings in, which kind of felt like the last piece of the puzzle here this year. That feels a lot more likely now. Ford v Ferrari, I think, feels maybe that one is the one that misses. I mean, I love the movie; it's one of my top 3 of the year. But man, alive, it just feels like a little bit like it gets those sound nominations, it gets the editing nomination, and maybe that's it. But I don't know. The Farewell, I feel like some people are kind of starting to knock that one down a little bit, so maybe that one misses. And Bombshell 2, one thing about that, if it doesn't get in for director, I don't no way, not that it doesn't get in for director, but if it misses out for like screenplay director, then yeah, Best Picture's done. And plus, the review embargo is still not up for that movie yet. So maybe if the reviews come in very, very mixed, we'll have to see. It would have to do like a PGA nomination, does have to get in at the Globes, does have to get some recognition somewhere at SAG, which I think it will. Has to do pretty well at BAFTA too, I think, to guarantee that slot. But maybe Bombshell falls out, so. Let's see what else. So yeah, I did push out Joker. I've pushed out Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Report, obviously, I've pushed out. So I think, yeah, Report feels less likely now. Richard Jewell, I think, is one maybe to be watch out for that might be in the hunt. The Two Popes, again, with so many Netflix entries this year, I feel like that one's going to get the shittier end of the stick. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know how good it is. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, again, kind of feels like a more safer pick. Maybe Dolomite Is My Name. It's another Netflix film I know, but I don't know if they do want to go all in on Netflix this year and get it three nominations. Maybe they would prefer Dolomite over Two Popes. Yeah, it feels like that's kind of the extent there. Yeah. So all right. So that's it for updated Oscar predictions. Of course, this is not going to be final by any means. We still have the animated short categories, all the short categories, and more details in song and more details in foreign language film as those kind of materialize. We'll get more of an idea there later on in the season. Of course, we'll get some short lists, as I said earlier, for some of those other categories too, like score and stuff. So, yep, we'll keep an eye on that, and I will we'll get this posted and stuff, and I will start my video for reviews of those other films. So, for those of you who care about my personal opinions or want to hear some reviews and stuff, and again, maybe a little more insight into why I'm picking what I'm picking, just definitely stick around for that.